It is one of the biggest debates in American history. Was there a second gunman in the JFK assassination? Well, a new book by one of the Secret Service agents who was standing just feet from President Kennedy that day lays out a theory that's a departure from the written statements that he himself filed right after the shooting. Paul Landis, who is now 88 years old, says that when the motorcade arrived at the hospital, he found the bullet that struck Kennedy in the limousine seat behind where the president was sitting. He says he put that bullet next to Kennedy on the stretcher, but the government report by the Warren Commission says that the same bullet that struck Kennedy exited his throat, then struck Texas Governor John Connally. With me now are two Kennedy historians who stand on different sides of this very debate. Ferris Rookstool believes that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, but Jefferson Morley says that Landis's new theory is plausible. Jefferson, I want to start with you first, but both of you, first of all, thanks for being here. But Jefferson, why do you believe that there could have been two shooters here?
Well, Landis's story really is another powerful blow against the official theory that one man killed the president for no reason. Eyewitness account, somebody who was on the scene. And let's not forget, the magic bullet theory was weak long before Paul Landis came along. 3 members of the Warren Commission did not believe it. 3 presidents did not believe it. President Harry Truman did not believe the lone gunman theory. President Nixon questioned the CIA about the who shot John angle. And President Johnson, the man who appointed the Warren Commission, did not believe its conclusions and believed that President Kennedy had been killed by his enemies. So Paul Landis's account adds a lot to that weight of evidence, and it shows that President Biden made a terrible mistake when he acquiesced to CIA pressure for continuing secrecy around thousands of JFK records. So Landis shows that this is an open question, and we really need a much better explanation of what happened on November 22nd, 1963.
So when you talk about the magic bullet theory, it's the idea that this same bullet struck both Kennedy and Connally, basically in one fell swoop. Ferris, can you just weigh in here? What's your view of why perhaps this is wrong?
Well, it's wrong on a number of things. I think, first off, Landis did not avail himself to facts or to actual documentation and records. I find it highly suspicious that someone opines nearly 60 years after the fact, when he could have provided this information to his supervisors and to the Treasury Department, the parent agency over the Secret Service in 1963, he could have given himself the opportunity to explain the recovery of this evidence and what he did with it. Now, the one thing that I keep going back to, this all boils down to location. It's location of where the bullet is, a little bullet that's about 3 centimeters, and also where this bullet was recovered. What this bullet did as far as locations of the body, the wounds that it caused, and what it inflicted into Governor Connally. The problem with all this is it doesn't change the basic fact that 3 shots were fired from the southeast corner of the Texas School Book Depository. No other investigating agency has found that any of the wounds came from any other direction other than the southeast corner of the book depository using Lee Harvey Oswald's rifle. Given that, what we have is we have a dispute by a person who has now stated 60 years after the fact that he was able to recover a couple of bullet fragments on the seat of the car, but yet he chose not to put those in his pocket, but he chose to put a cigarette lighter in his pocket, Jackie's purse, and the pillbox hat, and then pick up a little 3-centimeter bullet on the back deck of the car. The problem with all this is then he inserts himself in a room at Trauma Room 1 to place this bullet in a location which he states was near JFK's shoe. The problem with that is JFK wasn't wearing shoes. They did what's called a Venus cut down on JFK, which means they actually stripped him of his clothes and his socks and his shoes, but he accordingly states that he placed this bullet next to JFK's shoe. So I call into question again the location of where he's allegedly finding bullets, the location of where he's allegedly planting bullets, and why, as a special agent of the United States Secret Service, is he derelict in his duty to recover evidence and properly document accordingly?
Well, Jefferson, I see you wanting to weigh in. This is a central question. 60 years later, is his memory really something that we can base a pretty provocative theory like that on?
His account cannot be confirmed. It is consistent with the evidence. Mr. Rookstool doesn't explain why even the people who were hit by the bullets, the people in the car, don't believe the magic bullet theory. Jackie Kennedy didn't believe it. Governor Connolly didn't believe it. And Roy Kellerman, the Secret Service man sitting in the front seat, said, we were hit by a flurry of bullets, okay? According to the official theory, they were struck by 2 bullets. So the weight of the evidence shows that the president was hit by crossfire. The director of the CIA himself, John McCone, told that to Bobby Kennedy after he saw the Zapruder film of the assassination. So Landis's account may be open to question on certain points, but it is consistent with the evidence, and it compounds the severe doubts and the severe credibility problems that the magic bullet theory has. And it points out that the CIA is still keeping thousands of JFK records secret, which are related to the surveillance of Lee Harvey Oswald before the assassination. So President Biden made a terrible mistake in letting the CIA keep this material secret.
All right, Ferris Rookstool and Jefferson Morley, a fascinating discussion and debate between the two of you. Thanks to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.